So if you want to do a countdown.
Yep. Alright, let's start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. So first thing you can see is we are being able to skip the cutscenes. That's because we put in the no cut 5 cheat code. That saves about an hour in this run, so for a marathon it's definitely worth doing. This first section's pretty simple. We've got to clear out basically this load of enemies, all the enemies with the banners on. We've got to clear out. And yeah, while doing that, we also want to make sure that we don't collect too many studs with both characters, because we also want to try and end this level with 0 studs. If we do that, that saves about 10 seconds in this game. So these enemies in this wave have shields. So you're going to see my character, Elrond, will be breaking the shields. And then Origin's character will be doing a jump slam. And that attack basically does 3 HP of damage. So it insta-kills these 3 HP enemies. Otherwise, if I was trying to attack, or Origin tried to attack normally, we'd have to attack 3 times. So we save a bit of time there. So I also managed to get rid of some studs on Origin there.
But the big stud losses come later.
Yeah.
When you have more than 1,000 studs.
Yep, so in this section we've got these towers. These can only be broken by the character that Origin is playing as at the moment. So the goal is Origin's going to break the towers, and then I'm going to basically follow behind and get rid of the orcs behind him.
Victory was near.
And there we go. We got a death on Origin right at the end there, which is that's very good. So he went from, I think, 1,600 studs down to 0. So that's definitely a good save. And now we have this Sauron fight. And basically the goal of the Sauron fight is trying to make him move as little as possible. Unfortunately for me, Origin's character, player 1 at the moment, is the only character that can damage Sauron. So I'm basically just going to stand around and help make sure that the fight goes smoothly as possible, while losing some studs as well.
In this fight, basically, damaging Sauron means breaking his club.
Yep. You're also going to notice that Origin is holding down the character select button. So holding down that button in this section gives you immunity from any of Sauron's attacks. Otherwise, there's a potential that Origin could be having damage from here, especially when the orc is near him. But being able to hold down that means that he can effectively just stand in the optimum place every time without having to worry about taking damage. And as he's at a low amount of studs at the moment, he doesn't need to worry too much about taking a death in this section to be able to get down to 0 studs. Whoops.
Sauron retargeted there?
It's fine, we didn't lose any motion there by Sauron targeting on me, so we got away with that. And then last hit now. Nicely done, and we'll go into the last part of the level. So again, this part is very much led by Origin. There's not much I can do. Here, so Origin's got a triple jump across here. That was very nicely done. A lot of these jumps involve stretching out the spacing between your jump, your dive, and your attack as much as possible. In this game, kind of, if you dive just below or just after you've reached the maximum height of your jump, you actually get more height on the dive, and it's the same with the attack if you go below kind of a certain height threshold as well. So Origin kind of abuses that to be able to make the distance over some of the lava jumps.
And you'll see me dying a bit, just to lose my studs because I collected a lot while going up the mountain.
Yeah, so this is a lot when you consider that Origin's pretty near to entering the last room. But thankfully in the last room, if you die in the last room, you actually lose 3,000 studs rather than the regular 1,000 you lose if you die outside. So you can see Origin here avoids the blue studs very nicely, and will now make his way. So he's going to have to take a couple of deaths here. By the looks of it, 2 or 3.
Only 2.
But yep, we're down to 0 studs, so we can finish the level. That's a better first level than our practice run went.
And the 0 stats means we skip a couple of screens here. There's the first level you can skip the end screens of the level.
Yep. Okay, so that is prologue complete. And we now switch over to Frodo and Sam, who are going to make their way on the overworld now. And this is actually the overworld of this game. I know with a lot of the kind of older LEGO games, there wasn't as extensive an overworld, but the overworld for this game is basically a replica of Middle-earth.
It's ginormous and very fun to just walk around into and explore.
Yeah, and also for 100% as well, you can have some quite good routing in there. But now we're going into our second level, and I've dropped out. That's because I'm going to drop back in, so I'm going to hold the button to drop back in now. And what that does is you're going to see the 3 other characters, the Origin's character and the 2 characters we're not playing as, are in this kind of rolling state. Whereas my character, Sam, is absolutely fine to move normally. That's because we did what's known as a DIA, or drop-in abuse. Basically, if you drop in after the game has set kind of the force rolling requirement, then your character doesn't get affected by it. So I'm able to run. I do a skip there, which means that basically we're not stuck waiting for the Black Rider every single part.
Which means you can run faster and jump.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, we're going to do that in both of the first 2 sections of this level. So you're going to see here, the Black Rider usually comes to this last section here, but we're quick enough to go past it. I'm going to drop out here, and Origin will quit back to the menu, and we're going to do the same thing again.
So, again and again.
Right, yep, so you can see I'm Frodo this time, but I'm able to move freely.
In this section, we can skip the whole Gandalf fight here on the left side. So I don't really have to do anything.
Yeah, so if you've been following this game for a decent amount, you might be aware of a trick known as Saruman skip, which was originally a ridiculously inconsistent skip. I think it was like 1 in 50 when it came out, completely random. That basically only the world record had done. Fast forward about 3 years from that run, and there's now about 5 different ways to skip the Saruman boss fight here. And I think this is the 4th maybe, or the 3rd. There's been too many to count, but yeah, we're able to skip the entire boss fight there. And we now make our way into the auto-scroller. And auto-scrollers in this game, you basically don't have to do anything for. What we could have tried to do is try and avoid taking damage in this auto-scroller, but that is quite difficult to avoid.
And it also doesn't lose time if you do take damage or even die. So.
Even, yeah.
You're just along for the ride for this one.
Yep. But that's the second level complete. somehow fell into the water there. I don't know how that happened, but cool. So now we've got a bit of overworld stuff to do, because this is the part of the game where they actually teach you about the crafting mechanics in this game.
And also the quest
So
mechanics.
Also the quest as well. So in the overworld for this game, there's a lot of quests which you have to do, where basically you have to get a certain item from somewhere, and then use that to either get a mithril brick or unlock a red brick and then an extra. So the game is introducing that here, but we're still going to like do some skips for it or some minor optimizations for it. So you can see player 2, I'm just going to stand by the quest. I'm not actually going to go into the blacksmith room at all.
And I'll have to craft the mithril trowel here.
Yep. So mithril bricks are like the gold bricks in older LEGO games, or they've been called so many things throughout the franchises. Difficult to keep up. But yeah, basically, if you were to 100% this game, you have to collect all the mithril bricks, and then craft all the items that are here. And that's the last thing you do as 100%. Once you've crafted all of the items, you've pretty much 100%ed the game. But for this run, we're only going to do it once. If there was a way to skip this, we would skip it. But unfortunately, I don't think there is at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a slow moment in the run. But because Paxo was standing there on the quest, he can just give it to the guy as fast as possible. And
yeah, so interestingly enough, you still see the cutscene for opening the door to the blacksmith. That only triggers once you have the mithril trowel like out and visible. Normally you'd have to menu to it with a character inside a blacksmith, but because I pull it out for the quest, that cutscene plays. Just a small thing. I can't get that jump.
That's a very minor optimization of just walking towards this level.
Yep.
Otherwise you have to walk a bit around the rock.
Yep, so this section we've got to collect 3 bits of wood and put them in the campfire and then make second breakfast. Because if you look at the colour of the sky, it definitely looks like breakfast time. But this is just some kind of small movements here.
Yep.
Just trying to be as optimal as possible. So we're both actually going to go through this hobbit hatch. Origin will go over to the right to collect the egg. Yep, the egg, which is the last thing he needs to complete the section. I'm going to get the last bit of wood, which is the last thing we need to complete the campfire, and I went back through the hobbit hatch.
Without the wood.
We're gonna ignore that. That didn't happen.
Yeah, if you press the action key to pick up the wood too close to the hatch, you sometimes accidentally activate the hatch.
Yeah, so you saw that time, like, you need to walk far enough over to the left so that the action key for the hatch disappears and the action key for the wood appears, and sometimes it can just be a bit awkward. But now we're going to go for a bit of a swag strat here. We're going to go for bridge skip, both of us. I got
Paxo
it.
got it, I didn't.
That only saves like a couple of seconds, but it's a cool strat if you get it. And then we jump around there. There's an invisible wall. We need to jump around that side. But we can triple jump around it because, again, like I said in Prologue, we can kind of abuse some of the jump mechanics in this game. We're going to do it again here. Origin's going to triple jump down there and then light the fire. I'm going to go up to here, and this will prepare us for the next section. But what Origin's doing, lighting the fire there, is effectively removing an invisible wall so I can then progress and complete the section. so I'm going to go up here. That's where the invisible wall usually is. But then I'm going to try and get this jump, maybe. There we go. So I jump up to the top, and that is the end of the section. So that skips a surprising amount, actually. And now, in this section, we've got 5 fires to build. There's only a certain amount Frodo can do, because while Frodo's in this forced rolling animation, he will move slower. Unfortunately, it's not possible to do the same thing that we did in the very first part of the run. Oh, I've been kicked out of Steam Remote Play. Cool, thanks.
Let me quickly invite you again.
Yeah.
Thanks, team. Very
Love to see it.
nice. There we
Alright,
go.
there we go, I'm back.
Now the game has to actually realize it.
Yep.
In the meantime, the Nazgul have broken this fire, so I had to rebuild it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Normally I'd use Frodo as kind of a bit of a barricade to stop them doing that, but unfortunately we weren't quite able to this time.
And then I need to go and make a plant here for the last fire pit. And I'll punch this guy away
Yep,
before he
because
breaks.
the Nazgul... Yeah, if the Nazgul get too close, they'll try and break the fires. And if they do that, that's really bad. And then in this section, Sam gets to build the fire here. I don't think the Nazgul actually attacks that fire. I think they programmed differently to attack you instead. But we gotta light these 5 torches and then hit 1 Nazgul each with them. So I think I've got 3 which I'm gonna use, and Origin has 2. Yep, so Origin's got 1 more torch, I've got 1 more torch. Oh wow, that didn't work. Okay, thanks game. There we go.
And that's the level.
Yep.
Mind if I read a quick donation?
Go for it.
We have $10 from Laser Trap that says $1 per death in LSW1 GBA and per missed object clip in LIJ2DS yesterday. I'll be doing the same with the handhelds today and tomorrow too. Good luck, Paxo and Origin, and let's see some more Bionicle glitches. And that's going to go towards the Bionicle glitch hunting showcase, which is at 20 out of $45.
Awesome.
That would be cool to see if we can get that. $25 to go.
This part is normally very boring in any percent if you play with cutscenes, because
I call this part cutscene percent because it's just walking from cutscene to cutscene until you actually start the next level.
and these are very long cutscenes.
Yeah. I think this cutscene that we're just about to go to is 2.5 minutes, maybe? But yeah, with no cut, obviously it's a lot better. And we can make our way over to the next level. Obviously now we have a lot more characters in our party because we have the whole Fellowship of the Ring with us. So we're going to make our way over to the Pass of Caradhras. Which is, I think casually it's one of the longest levels, but it's not too bad because we skip some things in this speedrun.
You have to wait until these rocks are in place and lay still, because otherwise there's still a death plane there.
Yep. Also, this is a cool thing with this game. This is a cool mechanic. With Legolas, or I think any elf character, if you get them to start backflips, and then you literally just hold whichever direction they're traveling and the jump button, they will infinitely chain backflips. So I can just keep this going. I'm just pressing up and jump at the moment. Fell down there, but that's not the point.
We must take them.
So the start of this section has a lot of character management. This first section actually has a lot of character management. Basically, we need to bring 3 players across a gap. So we have to bring Legolas, Gimli, and Sam. So we're going to be starting that now. Once we've kind of cleared this first mini area.
And you see I'm using Aragorn. That's because you actually also need Aragorn to bring Gimli over. He needs to throw the dwarf over the gap.
Yeah, so this is a mechanic in this game. All the big characters can pick up small characters and then throw them. So I can catch that with catch Gimli with Legolas, while Origin gets Sam all the way across here.
We have to throw Gimli because he's the only character in the Fellowship that can triple jump.
Yep. Uh-oh, I've got split screen. That's not good. There we go.
Just nudge a bit to the side.
Yep. And then we've got to build this campfire here. We've got to get the 3 pieces of wood. This is a lot quicker than the last campfire we had to build, which is good because we have 2 of them in this section. But basically we can complete the rest of the section with just these 3 characters. Because Sam is quite multi-purpose, which is quite useful. Gimli has the ability to get rid of axe plates, and Legolas has a bow, so he can shoot things. And we need those in restricted any % to be able to skip or get to the end of this section.
We would be able to do this level with only 2 characters, Legolas and Gimli. If not for 1 skip, that's not possible on 60 FPS.
Yep, so if we had 75 FPS, for example, then we would be able to do that skip.
Gimli? Hello?
Interesting.
Normally
Gimli
he
didn't want to
jumps
move
up out of his own, but...
Wasn't feeling like it today. Oh, cool, I got Legolas stuck. Okay, Gimli's all the way over there. Yeah,
Oh, got him.
Ah, there we go. Okay, that's never happened before moment. We've got that out of the way now, that's okay. Okay, I'll be Legolas.
This is a bunch of character management here.
Yep. Oh yeah, fun fact, while picking up a character, you can move during camera pans, but you can only move in one direction. So you can only move in the direction that your characters were facing when the camera pan starts. So I was able to walk Sam all the way up there. Yeah, but now we're in kind of the last mini area of the run, I guess. So I'm going to build this so Gimli can go down, and I'm then going to switch to Legolas and try and do a triple jump over this gap here. There we go, we got it first try. That's pretty nice.
I forgot I needed to go down with Gimli first.
Ah. So, I mean, the good thing is, normally, the game's not having it today, but normally the AI would make their way through on their own. It seems that the AI did that perfectly the other way round. Sam coming back up, but Gimli didn't want to go down himself.
Luckily now Sam did come down with me.
Yeah, and this is why we need Sam. Being able to dig that spot so we can build that bridge, you need Sam for that. Otherwise, there's a different outer bounds route we can do with Gimli, but unfortunately you need a little bit more FPS.
I could blow
And the wind in this... Yeah, the wind in this section is a pretty awful mechanic. Oh no.
There we go. You need to time it with wind gusts, and they are quite invisible.
Yeah, they're really difficult to spot. But we should be good now, and this section is a lot of two-player character movement. So Origin's going to try and get a roll boost up here. Basically by jump diving in a specific spot. The game should give him more height so he can go up to the next platform. There we go.
And then I'll position Legolas up there again. Like this.
Yep. So we're gonna skip the entire left half of this room. Because we're gonna throw Gimli up to Legolas. Legolas will put him down up here. And then Gimli will jump over and break the second half. Otherwise you'd have to go all the way over to the left, through some hobbit hatches as well. So we save a decent amount of time there. And we are now in a boss fight. Yep, so this boss fight, we have 4 of these tentacles which come down, and we're trying to break each one as it comes down. I think it is RNG as to whether they have the correct animation for us to be able to attack them.
This is
so
the
this
wrong
time,
animation.
Yep, this is bad RNG. I think it's like a 75% chance maybe of good RNG.
And again.
But this is a marathon, of course, so we've got to have bad luck.
And again.
And again. Alright, this is the time, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
There we
Pulled
go.
it. Interesting, I think that was actually too tall for Gimli to hit. But we got one more to go, and then we get into the
that's
second
quick
phase of this fight.
Not the best RNG for this fight.
It's marathon luck. What can you expect?
But now we're in the second phase of the boss fight. And that starts with me throwing Gimli at the monster. And then letting him drown, I guess.
Yep, sacrifices have to be made and all that. But it's fine, because he respawns up top. And then Origin's gotta shoot an eye out.
Mind if I read a quick donation?
Go for it.
We have a $10 donation from Janik, There's no description, but thank you very much for your donation.
And this is the last die we need to shoot. And with that, this level is over.
Yep. So we are 4 levels down now. Not too bad, half an hour in. Pretty good pace given the RNG that the game's thrown at us so far. But now, immediately, we go straight into the 5th level.
The Mines of Moria.
Yep. So again, we basically kind of split this room into halves. So my left half of the room will build the top of the well and get the crank that we need. Origin's half of the room gets the gear that we need to be able to put the crank in. So by doing that, we're able to complete the section quite quickly, and Origin will switch to Legolas in preparation for the next room, where we have to barricade the door.
Needs to shoot these 2
Yep.
targets for the handles to come down.
And now we have, I guess, what is technically an auto-scroller, or it's like a fighting section, but it is impossible to gain or lose time during it. So we're just gonna chill up here for a bit, pretty much. Let's see if Origin can get some backflips going, chain some backflips. Very nice. I think also you could do a pickup launch here, around this area. It is possible, at least on higher FPS. But you see the characters kind of freak out when you try and pick up a small character with a big character when there's collision in the way. So yeah, the characters are shaking a lot right there.
But not really launching.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we swap sides, maybe that makes it work.
No,
Okay,
but just very shaking, shaking very violently.
Yep.
And that's the end of that fight.
Yep, so now this fight, while I'm building this section, Origin's gonna basically activate the troll on that side. What we want to do in this section is the troll has 3 points he needs to hit, so the left, the right, and the middle. We want to make sure he has as minimal movement as possible, so either going from right to left or going from left to right. You can see during that cutscene also, I'm still building. That's because I just about managed to press the build button in time before the camera pan starts. And when you're holding a button during a camera pan, you're able to carry on that action. So that's that phase done. And in this phase, Pippin is on top of the troll, and then Legolas will be able to shoot the troll. And again, we've got one spot on the left, one spot on the right to do this now. So what Origin will do is once he jumps on the troll, he effectively has control of the troll. Control, if you will. Haha.
That was so bad. Yeah, but I'll maneuver the troll to the right side, so when I drop down here, I'm close to this hatch I need to go through.
Yep, and we're gonna see that here. There we go.
That's a troll fight done.
Yep. And we now go into this kind of auto-scroller, I guess. In this section, we've got to clear waves of orcs. But you see, Origin immediately went there and switched to Sam. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is Pippin is needed in the next section, so we want him at the front of this party because the AI can move before you can. The second reason is Sam is for some reason absolutely busted. So every other character, when they attack one of these orcs, they'll attack them for 1 HP. And each orc takes 3 HP to kill. Sam, for some reason, does 2 HP. So double the damage with a frying pan means that Sam can 2-hit kill these enemies rather than 3-hit kill them. So we save a bit of time that way.
Mind if I read another donation?
Go for it.
We have another $10 from Janick, and this time it says, forgot to add a message in my first donation, so here's another tenner. Having good memories of playing this game with my brother. Good luck on the run. And thank you for another $10 donation.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, this game was released in 2012, I think. I think it was one of the LEGO games that actually passed me by as a child. But I think a lot of people in the community have a good connection to this game, or the Middle-earth games anyway. Which is quite cool to see.
We both tried to switch to the same character?
Yeah, we both tried to switch to Pippin. I still need to switch to Gimli here. That's fine, because I believe Pippin is the bottleneck here.
Yes.
But again, it's more two-player movement. This is the first, and I believe 1 out of 2 times that we're actually going to see Gandalf being involved in this run. Actually, that's not quite true. In any percent, this is the only room where you use Gandalf at all. In restricted any percent, we use him a couple more times. But not as much as you'd expect from a Grand Wizard. But as we go through this section, this part's nice and easy. You see Origin is just going to fall off the stairs into the trigger. And then we are going to try and jump around this trigger. This is quite a tough invisible wall to hit, so Origin's going to be backing it up, trying to not do it the normal way, but triple jump down here with Legolas. That's a very tough jump on keyboard. But there we go. So I made it round there, round the invisible wall, and hit the trigger for the next section, so we could skip actually doing the stairs the intended way. And now we have a pretty boring section on Origin's side. Origin has got to fight this Balrog. So this is the first of 3 phases. In restricted any percent, at the moment, there's no consistent way to skip it. Instead, what I'm doing on this side is I've basically got myself up to the top platform, so that the moment the fight finishes, I can go through these doors which end the level. But yeah, there's not too much optimization in these fights. I think Origin just needs to make sure he's holding the jump button as he's falling, because that speeds up increases your full speed. And you see there's this phase where the Balrog is spitting fire. Generally, you want the Balrog to spit fire straight forward as much as possible. If he has to turn his head, that actually loses time. It's only like 0.3 of a second or something, but it's
Optimization.
yeah, small optimizations.
But we're in the last phase of the Balrog right now.
Yep, not much more. I think there is technically a skip on my side, which is 60 Hz possible, but it's really difficult to do. What you have to do is try and get the apples out of the barrel here. And then Gimli will sit down inside the barrel and Legolas, I think, has to pick him up, and it's like a 1 in 20, 1 in 30 launch. It's so difficult to actually try and get, so probably a good thing that we didn't go for it in this run.
And as you can see now, rocks drop down, Gimli can smash him. Paxo positioned it perfectly.
That was
Run
actually,
through the door.
yeah, that was actually about as good as it could be, yeah. Kind of surprised with that. Okay, and now we're going to go for a cheeky little map warp here. So we're going to warp to the map stone in Lothlorien. That instantly starts this cutscene. Saves like maybe half a minute over walking there, maybe 20 seconds over walking there. Tiny little optimization that either the devs didn't know about or did know about. I'm not sure about that one. Whether that was just completely overlooked or whether it's intentional.
But in a speedrun we can use it, so that's always nice.
Yeah. And now we have Amon Hen, which starts off with a very nice split level section. So you're going to see Origin is playing as Frodo at the moment, and will be trying to distract Boromir here. But we'll then actually go for a skip in the next section called Pillar Skip. Meanwhile, I'm here with Gimli and Legolas, and we're just trying to make our way through the level, this part of the level inbounds.
So here I'll start rolling up the pillar, get my sword out, and that launches me like a tiny bit, which lets me get up the stairs. And
Yeah, so for some
skip
reason in this
Boromir.
game, for some reason in this game, rolling up against a pillar gives you a jump. So Origin's able to abuse that to be able to get onto the stairs and then skip basically the entire section.
Because now we skip Boromir, he will not follow us. And
Yep.
normally you have to do all kind of puzzles to distract him in these sections, but it's very easily just to roll to the finish now.
Yep. Interestingly enough, you can't do that in 100% because if you do that, none of the items actually spawn afterwards. It's kind of weird the way that works, but it just does.
It just works.
Yeah. And once this like mini cutscene thing is done, I'm actually going to go for a skip here. So I managed to jump dive onto that grab rail and then fall off like I'm not supposed to. Let's try that again. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm gonna jump dive up here. I completely forgot to dive there. I think this is still faster even doing it this much, because what might help actually is Origin will need to drop out here.
Oh. Make the camera follow you a bit.
Yeah, that's a bit easier. But then I'm going to come up here, and I think once I get past this tree or so, Origin can drop in. And what we effectively do is we drop in warp the players further up. And by doing that, we can just skip the kind of puzzle that was down there.
The split screen in this game sometimes has weird rotations.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be quite annoying in this game, the way you can't target like through the split screen. You can only target on your side of the screen. I think you missed the first one.
Yep.
Yep.
Now
Yeah, that's good. And that's the first and only time we use the tracking mechanic in this game, which is a mechanic that Aragorn has as a ranger, where he can basically just follow any item with that kind of green particles around it.
Then he basically smells out the track.
Yeah.
In this section you need to kill all the enemies. And then it opens up towards the next section. So
Yep,
Paxo
so
and
you
me
can
know
see-
exactly which enemies we have to go for each.
Yeah. That's a cool way that works. It's always kind of one person goes up on the top level and the other person stays on the bottom level. It's a nice way of doing it. So in this boss fight, there is some RNG. Sometimes the hobbits will get picked up by the enemies here, and because we need them to go through the hobbit hatch, that is very bad. Thankfully, we got through the first and second phase okay. Hopefully the third phase will be nice to us as well. So what Origin's doing here is basically by clearing out the Urukai on the bottom, he's getting rid of, or reducing the chances of that happening. And neither of them got picked up. Is that the game being nice to us for once?
Lego game being nice to us? You don't
Nah,
trust it?
it couldn't be. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to try and convince Lurtz here to throw the shield up onto this top platform. Normally he tries to throw it on the bottom platform, but if we kind of interrupt his line of sight with where we're standing, he's obviously not able to do that. And that speeds up the fight because he's then throwing his knives during during the phases where the Urukai spawns. Normally he doesn't do that, he waits until the end of the phase, so it saves a tiny bit of time. You see he's going to throw it on the platform there, and we're able to get that second hit off. Because yeah, the less distance travelled by the shield, effectively the better. I think that's all of them on my side. And then I'm going to stand back here again for the same reason. There we go, so the shield travels at least distance, and now Lurtz is going to come down and try and challenge us. But there's two of us and one of him. So we're able to deal with him quite quickly. And that is the first film complete.
Also the longest one. Because in the next movies we're gonna skip a couple of levels.
Yep, the levels are quicker without cutscenes, and we're going to skip a lot of them as well. I think, actually, in this route we skipped 3 levels, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, oh, if I can select it. Nice camera. The camera spawned in the other direction to what I was expecting. So it's a cheeky bit of map menuing there, just to be able to get into the right place. And again, we have another of these split path sections. This one in particular is an absolute nightmare to 1v2c. So thankfully there's 2 of us. I
I'll
think for both
go
of
up
our
here
sanities.
with Gandalf, and at the top Balrog is waiting for me with one final boss fight. And Paxo will try to collect as many fish as possible.
Yep. So you can see Origin was jump attacking every single one of those blocks. That's because it actually does more damage. That was also a very neat way of stacking the blocks. Haven't seen that one before, but that worked pretty well.
It's, yeah, those blocks behave differently every time, so
Yeah.
it's always just stack them the way you get up.
Yeah, I think that's a characteristic they directly imported from Harry Potter. But now I'm going to be trying to do a tough triple jump here to get up to the upper level, rather than doing it normally. That skips the camera pan.
And I'll enter the Balrog fight.
Yep.
Now, if you go close to this Balrog, he tries to grab you. If you dodge that, and then go close to him again, you basically skip a whole phase. And you go straight to the end part of that phase. So, gonna go close to him, dodge, close to him again, and that's that phase done as well.
Yep. So I think, if I remember correctly, the movement, or what the Balrog's supposed to do, follows the exact same pattern that the Sauron fight is supposed to do at the very start of the game. But the Sauron fight doesn't have this proximity thing, which for some reason happens.
And that makes this very quick and easy.
Yep. So I believe Origin will try and do the same triple jump that I did. This is one of the hardest triple jumps in the game, in my opinion.
It is. Even getting on this block.
Yeah. Ah, perfect timing.
And we need Frodo up there because there's one fish in a dark cave that Frodo needs to light up with his file.
Yeah, so we've now got 3 out of the 6 fish between us. There's 2 fish right by the start, so the last fish, which can only be accessed by Frodo, Origin's gonna have to try and get. But it does involve getting this triple jump.
Because we've been here before. We're going in circles.
Yep.
There we go.
Up there.
And we're going to see this from Origin here. He's going to walk on what doesn't look like a place you can walk, but it actually is. And then he can use that to jump up to the top. Or jump up to this level, which skips doing something with Sam. Yeah, it skips growing a plant with Sam, which is quite nice to avoid.
And that was the fish you need Frodo for.
Yep. Origin will make his way back to here, and then we're going to go into a Golem boss fight. This boss fight's quite interesting though. Cool, I'll take that one.
There we go. Throwing those fish are... throwing those fish is pretty weird sometimes.
Yep. So the goal of this boss fight is basically we want to get Sam to use his rope on Golem, and that damages him. But for the second and third phase, we also need to fish for a fish, surprisingly, to be able to like act or to be able to bring Golem down. So Origin's going to build this rope here, and I'm actually going to drop out for the rest of the boss fight. Origin gets a fishing rod. And we'll jump attack to get his sword out. That just means his attacks are a bit quicker. And what he's trying to do is, when Sam throws the rope at Golem, he wants to switch characters to Frodo and try and hit Sam. And if that happens, that skips some animation on the Golem fight, so he moves into the next phase a bit quicker.
And then we fish for a new fish to throw at Gollum.
Nice targeting game. There we go. Let's see if Origin can get it this time.
Nope.
Not quite. It's quite a precise window to hit, and also the rope is very well known for getting in the way. So it's just awkward. Generally awkward. This is the last phase right here. Let's see if we can get this last one. Ah, not quite. Game wasn't cooperating today. Oh well. Oh, I dropped back in. That's actually useful. But now, what the game does is it does something a bit different. So, the game basically splits paths of the story. So, we're now going to be able to play either Aragorn's side of the story, or we can continue with Frodo's side of the story. In any percent, you choose Frodo's side of the story because you can do a quicker version of what's known as Osgiliath skip. Instead, we're going to do the Aragorn side of the story, which in no cuts isn't too much slower, and that means we're going to effectively skip the next level on Frodo's side.
Here we're gonna do the pickup launch. The collision is in between the pickup, which boosts you upwards, and on 60 FPS this is barely doable.
Barely being the key word.
So, and we're trying to get out of bounds there. Anything higher than 60, this is the most easy launch ever. On 60, this is one of the only possible launches.
Yeah. There's a couple of others in sections like the Pass of Caradhras, which we already played. But unfortunately, there's one thing that we can't do in that section, which makes the rest not possible. That one's not going to work. Let's swap characters. Just see if it makes a difference. So I'll become Gimli. This probably won't make a difference, but it just means if we do get the right height launch, I'm just hoping I don't get an unfortunate lag spike, which would stop me from actually moving where we want to.
This
But it's
is
normal
the
for
most
this one to take a
RNG
while. Yeah.
part of the run.
But even if we take like 2-3 minutes to do it, it's still quicker than the casual strat for this level. Maybe try it with Aragorn?
Yeah, this is... This is the bottleneck of the run.
On 60, yeah, this is where most runs would come to die. That looks good.
Yep,
Hey,
and we
got
got over. So now we have advance. We can just run on the outside of the level. This skips 2 rooms actually. That's why it saves so much. And then into...
And a lot of cutscenes.
Yes. Into the trigger there, and we enter Fangorn Forest. With the 2 hobbits.
Other than that, this level is probably one of the more fun levels in the run. You pretty much just go A to B straight away. So you're going to see here, we're going to walk against a mushroom. For some reason that gives us height, and then we can jump dive over. And then here we're going to be trying to do a tough jump to get to the upper level here. You can see Origin slid off, but I was just about managed to make it.
And I made it as well.
Yes, let's go.
Not that I needed
And
to,
then we
because
found
Paxo just finished this room.
Yeah. And now we're going to do an out of bounds skip. I am going to, quite simply, place Origin's character down out of bounds. The tree is a bit weird with the way it works. But yeah, as it turns out, you can literally just walk up against there. If your right foot is pointing forwards, so your right foot's in front of your left, you just put the character down and they get put down out of bounds. Origin's trying to make it up to kind of this upper platform here. This is quite tough to make, especially on keyboard. That looks good. Looks like he's going to make it. Yep, there we go.
There's so much
he can
trees in the
now-
way, it's very difficult to see where they're actually going. I almost went back in bounds.
Yeah, all of the trees here are don't have any collision, but they just get in the way a lot. So Origin's got to be very careful not to pop back in bounds, because if he pops back in bounds, it's not a soft lock, but it's a big time loss. I think, yeah, going through there should be good.
Yeah, now it's just straight onto the
Yep.
end of the level. Here we have to see if there's light shining at the end. No. So we have to go
Yep,
back
we have to
until
go
it appears.
There we go. Yeah, that light shining at the end basically signals that the end trigger's loaded. But we got that not too bad, relatively quick. And now we go from that level, which I think that level, if done optimally, with good launch RNG, is the quickest in the run. We now, or second quickest in the run. We now go to what is the quickest in the run, Walk Attack. This level isn't that much in the way of movement, but you're going to see Gandalf here again, in his ascended form. But what we got to do is we've got to hit Wormtongue so Wormtongue gets out the way, and then once Wormtongue's out the way, Gandalf can then heal Theoden. And we're trying to hit Wormtongue before this cutscene starts. You see Aragorn's just about able to, and hopefully Gandalf will be able to build straight away. He is, that's very nice.
We have to build a cage here to trap Wormtongue. And once he is trapped,
Yep, so he's trapped now. Origin can then do the thing.
do the thing. Do the magic.
We don't want to hit him in this phase, because we have a slightly different strat in this phase. If Origin is able to build straight away, which it looks like he is, I'm then going to hit Wormtongue. And doing that traps him down by the gate, and Origin can finish it off.
Yeah.
So we effectively get like a 1 cycle or a 0 cycle there, which is quite nice.
Because he basically gets blocked by the gate that is building. And
Yeah,
once
so-
the gate is built, he walks into it immediately.
Yeah. So if a gate's being built and is kind of a certain amount done, from that point on, he won't be able to walk under. This section, just gotta get rid of all the different wargs here. Any warg with a bow is 2 HP, any warg without is 1 HP. Also, fun fact, when you jump with a horse, or, yeah, I think it's just a horse, maybe a warg as well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, works as well.
Your horizontal position, or horizontal speed, stays constant no matter what direction you press. So you can actually just jump and do like 360s and stuff, which we call horse slag, and it's quite cool.
And you'll see it after Helm's Deep. There's a long horse section there, so...
Yep. So Origin's going to be trying to get multiple 720s, am I right?
For sure. You just killed
There
me.
you go. Ah.
Yeah, very quick level this one.
Yep. As we now go into the Battle of Helm's Deep.
I'm going
It's
straight towards the
slightly
horse
quicker.
here. Because...
Yep, it's slightly quicker to get the horse. Just for that little bit of movement. Never seen Legolas walk up that or warp up that far though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes when you're on a horse, the other characters tend to warp towards you, looking very funny.
Yep.
Because
And somewhat confused. But yeah, so we've got some 1p2c to, or not 1p2c, but co-op movement to start here.
Everyone to the build, not pick up.
But our goal here is to get on the wall. Again, in any percent, you're able to launch up in a multitude of ways. But, we don't have that luxury, so Origin is going to build these stairs. And then the moment we get up into the wall, the cutscene starts. And yeah, in this section, we've just got to, as optimally as possible, get rid of all these ladders. So Legolas gets a middle two. Unfortunately, Gimli has one on the very left and one on the very right to do. So it's a lot of walking with Gimli to be able to complete it. But we're going to build the axe plate for this one. Origin's already standing in the point where he knows the middle three ladders will spawn in the next phase. And I'm going to stand at the point where I know the rightmost one will spawn. And that's just a little saving a little bit of time here and there.
This middle one will have to throw Gimli out, so I can't destroy that yet. But I can shoot these two guys. Pick up. Oh, hit.
Love it when that happens. So yep, Gimli gets thrown there, and that's the section complete. So now you don't see it because we skipped the cutscene, but the wall gets blown up by the Berserker, and Legolas, or any character now, has to try and make their way over, up onto the wall again, and over to the left side. So you're going to see Origin will take the lead on this one, as he's Legolas. He's going to be trying to go for a triple jump around some boulders. Although, playing on keyboard, it is very difficult, so... whoops.
That's not the difficult part. I'll push this down though.
Yep, push this down for me, and we're going to see if Origin can get this triple jump. Almost, not quite. So instead, I'm going to break this axe plate.
Now we got it.
Nice. You used the rock for me breaking the boulders as well. Very, very nicely done.
It's like in the Hobbit movie.
Yeah.
Jumping on the rocks. Like...
Oh, you beat me to the building. So, in this section, the requirement for the level to be completed, or for this section to be completed, is for there to be 2 characters on top. We're going to do a skip, which we only found yesterday, somehow. But, yeah, we're going to do a pretty cool skip to be able to get over and get Gimli up effectively as quickly as possible. But this is the last ladder we have to clear, so you're going to see Legolas will be breaking those kind of anchor points of the ladder. You see it's broken there. And instead of doing what you're actually supposed to do, which is build a platform so Gimli can grab the rope, if you actually just jump and attack, Gimli can make it up to the rope automatically, and then that skips about 10 seconds or so. Maybe more, actually.
Probably more.
Yeah.
Because you have to build and then push a box down. That box breaks, you have to build a platform and then jump up, so...
Oh yeah, that's definitely more than... But yeah, somehow we only found that one yesterday while practicing for this run. I don't know how that had been overlooked before.
We're so close to True Adventure.
Oh, but we both
Not
take it
anymore.
back. That might have been me picking up the purple stud that came with the mini kit, just for a laugh. But But there we go. That's Helm's Deep done. And now we've technically completed as much as we can with the Aragorn side of the story in the Two Towers film. So now what the game would have us do is switch to Sam and Frodo and do the Dead Marshes, like go through the Dead Marshes with them. However, what we can do is we can actually access Osgiliath early because the eye is now moved away from Osgiliath. And we do that not in the way that the game intends, because the game doesn't intend for you to do it. The game intends for everything to be completed. However, after you complete Osgiliath, there's a boat which spawns, which allows you to cross basically the river to where the trigger is. However, before that, the boat is still loaded with collision, but it's not physically, it's not visible. So we're actually still able to cross, which is quite weird.
These are the 360s we were talking about.
Yeah.
The move
So
keeps
this is what...
the horse keeps moving forward at the same speed, even as long as we're in the air. So we can 360 without losing any time. And here's the invisible boat that I just jumped on.
Yep, and
Here's
making our way to the trigger.
trigger.
Nicely done. And now it doesn't get any easier, because I've got to go for what's known as Osgiliath Skip, which is probably... It was the hardest jump in the game. Now there's a setup-ish for it, but it's still one of the hardest in the game.
So Paxo will jump out of bounds here and back in, so he is halfway through the wall. And then he has to navigate all the death planes inside of that wall to get completely out of bounds without dying.
Oh, that should have been it. There we go.
And
this should be good.
It's as difficult as it sounds.
Yeah, so what I do is I actually walk down the stairs, so I'm not holding full right, I'm holding like half right, I guess. I'm not pressing the full input. The reason for that is when you walk down the stairs, you don't get hit by a death plane. If you run down the stairs, you do. For some bizarre programming reason, that's what happens. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I'm not going to complain because we're able to walk down the stairs anyway and skip this whole section. So I'm right at the end of the section. Normally this is one of the longest parts casually, actually, but we can get through it quite quick like that.
And into the end section, which is a bunch of walking and not getting scared of fire.
Yep.
If you get too close to these glowing pits, the ants will get scared.
Yep. Basically, ants being made of wood are afraid of fire. Never would have guessed. But yeah, we have to make our way all the way around, basically breaking the dam in this section to flood Isengard.
Break the dam, release the river.
We do get that voice line. That voice line will be coming up very shortly. But we activate this camera pan here. That ignites basically this whole barricade. And instead of waiting for it to fully burn, we just throw some water on it. So, there we go. Sometimes the targeting on that can be strange, but it was nice to us today.
Targeting in this game in general is
Yeah.
quite strange sometimes.
But now we're going to make our way over here. We have to throw rocks at these two towers to
And here's
get
the voice line.
Yep, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so we break both of those towers. That's to allow us to walk up. And then we're able to take one of these supports each. And we just have to mash B. There we go. And that's the section. So that is the end of movie 2. You can
And
see that was a lot quicker than movie 1.
no, we skipped one level. At the end, we will skip some more
Yeah,
levels.
so immediately when we spawn back on the overworld, we're going to skip 2 levels. Because for some reason, the devs didn't expect you to actually play the Aragorn section now before playing the Frodo section. So the moment we go and enter this cutscene, even though it's meant to be split paths, the moment we enter this cutscene, we're able to progress with Aragorn's side of the story. And we're able to progress. Technically, we're only meant to progress up until the Black Gate, if I remember correctly. But we can actually progress further because we're going to do, or just do some overworld movement to get to Black Gate earlier than we should. But first, we've got 2 more levels before that, so we've got to go Paths of the Dead. This level can be a bit fussy with the AI sometimes, so hopefully the AI will be nice to us today.
It's the same story of AI following or just staying behind.
Yeah. It tends to be better in co-op, but sometimes, in this case, Legolas won't follow. It usually happens with Gimli, that Gimli won't follow. So I think during this section we basically make sure one of us is Gimli for pretty much all the time. Yeah, I just saw the top of Legolas's head there, so we're good. Yeah. We're going to make our way over here. I'm going to do what's known as a roll boost. So basically by jump diving in a specific spot with a slope, the game will then push me up, and hopefully that will push me up enough so I can grab the rails at the top. Nicely done, first try. So yeah, that skips basically that entire room. It's much easier on higher FPS because the amount that the game will push you off by is FPS dependent. So it tends to be on higher FPS, you'll be able to get like a ceiling launch there. But we just about got enough to the grab handles, which is fine. We're now going to skip this entire room as well, because you're meant to build a platform for both characters to stand on. But actually, you could just jump on the skeleton and then just jump over. Unfortunately, a Soldier of the Dead has decided to follow me, so I might need... Okay, it's gone now. There we go. And that way we can just bring both characters all the way through here, which is very nice. And Origin's going to go for a roll boost here, another one, to get Aragorn over to the left side. I'm going to do a backup, just in case he doesn't manage to make it.
Almost.
Okay, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it. So instead he's going to go up to the gate, because I'm going to open the gate on this side pretty much immediately now.
And then I can walk through the gate before it's completely open.
Yep. And now I got to break these 4 axe plates before Aragorn can build them. Basically, in this section, there's only one real player that's useful, because you can see the moment I get near a Soldier of the Dead, Gimli puts his hands over his ears and gets scared, basically. Same with Legolas. Aragorn's the only one that doesn't, because he has the Sword of Gondor.
Aragorn's just a cool guy. Doesn't get scared easily.
He's just built different. So that's the first phase done. You're going to see Aragorn going for the second phase here. Actually, I managed to get the build off, which is quite rare there. Usually there's a ghost too close to me, so it can't happen. But we got away with it that time. You can see Origin knows exactly where the King of the Dead is going to be. so it could just move over. And that's the second phase complete. Origin will be pretty much on his own for the third phase.
Quickly dying here.
Tactical death. Okay, can you build the first platform into time?
I did.
Nice.
If you don't build that on time, you lose a whole rotation basically of the false ghost.
Yeah, it's basically a cycle. But no, that was really good. Cool. And there is a risk of this level soft locking, but as long as it doesn't on this last hit, yeah, we're good. That was a very nice pass of the dead, all things considered, actually.
Indeed.
I think this run at the moment is on pace to be pretty far below estimate. So maybe if we have time at the end, we might be able to show one thing off. And I'm sure Origin knows what I'm thinking about when I say
I
one
do
thing.
know.
But we'll get to that later. We've got 3 levels left to go. So we've got the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which is pretty straightforward level. Starts off with an auto-scroller. And yeah, I think in regular any percent, you actually exit this auto-scroller straight away. Or whenever you're playing with cutscenes, you exit this auto-scroller straight away and then re-enter it. That's because if you do that, you can actually skip the cutscene at the end of this auto-scroller.
You can do that with any auto-scroller in the game.
Yes. It's a weird thing that works, but you can do it to skip the cutscene at the end. Hey, we picked up a mini kit. So it doesn't matter in this level how many mini kits you pick up, it doesn't lose time, because this mini kit right here is unavoidable. That's the one mandatory mini kit in the game. So basically, yeah, what can you do? But yeah, I think there's 3 you can pick up in the auto-scroller. We tend to pick up 2 just by accident.
Yeah, if you just don't hold anything, you pick up 2 automatically.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's where the phase ends.
We both did for a second. Too busy killing orcs.
Yep. But yeah, so fighting the Fell Beast here. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully in each phase the Fell Beast won't take any steps in between like each phase. I think we've got 0 steps so far, which is quite good. Just saves a little bit of time. Also, Mary is armed and ready with a fishing rod. Interestingly enough, the fishing rod can't actually kill any of the orcs. But it can hurt the Fell Beast, I think. One of the quirks for this game. I'm not sure if that's just in any section, but like, all these orcs are 1 HP, apart from when you hit them with a fishing rod. We got a step there, that's fine.
This is the final part of this boss fight. As in every LEGO game boss fight, it has 3 phases.
Yeah, if you can't see the hearts, just assume that it has 3. It's generally the rule.
And most of the time, even if it has more hearts, it's still like three phases. But
Yeah.
you do like more hearts per phase.
That's true.
I'll go
So
stand here
here-
to start luring
Yep.
the Nazgul, but then switch over to that. That is to
Yep.
have minimal amounts of steps, so we go right to left.
Yeah, this is identical to the troll in Mario, pretty much. We want to minimize the movement that the boss takes as much as possible. So even though theoretically we could get the middle one earlier, it's actually quicker to go right, left, right, middle, left.
And now we position ourselves perfectly for this interaction.
Oh, I wasn't quite perfect. I was just outside the circle.
Same.
And now we have these elephants that we need to try and... just... Oh, great. Thanks, game. I don't know how that happened.
The Legolas part of this battle is harder than Aragorn part. For
Yeah, 'cause
Aragorn, you basically just smash axes. Once you hit him. For Legolas, you actually have to parkour your way up the,
Yep.
the elephant.
And it can be kind of awkward sometimes, but I think that was okay. Let's go for true adventurer here. We're so close. Hey,
we
let's
go.
go.
And now we just have to wait until the next three spawn. They'll be coming from this side.
Yep. So you're going to see the shadow spawn first. And then the...
There he is.
Yep, there we go. So the first two are breakable by Aragorn. So you're going to see Aragorn move over to the left here. Basically follow the first one. And the visual cue is when the second one comes off my side of the screen, he can attack the first one. Because that gives just enough time for the third one to appear and be able for me to jump on. So we got that absolutely perfect that time. It means I can basically clear this third one as quickly as possible.
Because
and
Legolas
Aragorn
takes a
will
bit
finish
longer
off.
than Aragorn to clear.
Yeah,
Elephants. And then I can just go for the second one here.
yeah. Also, because they're in like a train, once you attack the first one, the last one stops, and the one before stops.
Oh no.
Is that a crash?
That is a crash.
Hey, let's go. It's a Lego game. It's official.
Let's quickly start back up.
Remember to put no cut back in.
Yes, indeed. And I also have to invite you again.
Yes, please.
So for the loudness, there we go. So first of all, I'll do the important part here.
Yep, good idea. Remember no cut. So that crash can happen. Sometimes that boss fight in particular can just be bad.
And then I'll invite Paxo
Yay.
to join.
I'm allowed to play again. Ooh. Maybe.
Does it work?
Yep, there we go. And hopefully, if the game's been nice, we'll spawn back in the elephant section. The game has not been nice.
It has, certainly has not.
So, I hope you liked this level, because I'm going to see it again.
That is quite a common crash. Or one of the more common crashes. But unfortunately, we still haven't found any way to negate it.
Yeah. I mean, usually crashes in this game are quite rare. But when they happen, you can pretty much know where it's going to happen. Like, a decent amount of the game is stable, apart from a few points. I'm getting the mini kit this time. That's gonna give us good luck.
Oh, we got 2 steps.
Ow.
Targeting each other there instead of the mouse wheel.
I think this level is actually one of my favorite for 100%, because you get the 3 mini kits in the auto scroller, and then you have a thing here where you save this person who's stuck. You save the person on this side as well. You get that glowing shield by fighting an orc, and then in the next section you have a decent amount where you're just basically playing the battlefield medic. Quite cool.
That's cool, yeah.
I think it's the kind of mini kits where they aren't like, they don't feel forced. Oh, did we get a double hit there? We only hit him twice, didn't we?
We might have gotten a double hit, yeah.
Yeah. So that can happen. That's basically if player 1 and player 2 hit the fell beast on the same frame, you actually skip forward a bit. It's really weird, because sometimes it feels like you're doing it first time, but the attack animations of both characters are different lengths, and it's just like, cool. Nice. But there we go, back
I got
into
killed
the
by the smashing of a head.
yeah. Back into this section. Thankfully this section isn't too long anyway. Oh, I'm positioned in the ring this time. That's the good luck we needed. It's not going to crash this time now.
I am
I was
Same
also
as
better
you.
positioned.
Yeah.
It is very unfortunate though, the place we crashed, because it's the biggest amount of time a crash can lose in this game. I think.
Basically, yeah, basically in the entire game. It couldn't have been much worse timed if we tried. Yeah,
This is
sometimes the
one of
game-
the longest levels, and it was
Yeah.
right at the end.
Sometimes the game likes to save your progress there, which is why we were kind of like, maybe the game would be nice. But sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately, we're on the wrong side today. Very nicely done. That's what I'm doing wrong. Okay, yep, this is looking good. Hopefully no crash this time, game, please.
camera
screen
always
being
freaks
weird.
out here. But
Yeah,
That's
the
normal.
camera's always weird here.
and there we go.
Hey, we made it.
Only lost 7.5 minutes to that.
Yeah, still below estimate pace. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Black Gate. And normally you're supposed to access it with Aragorn's party, but you actually can't. So I'm going to switch to, or be Sam's party, and we're going to go to the Dead Marshes and then walk to the Black Gate.
And this skips 2 levels that you would actually do with Frodo and Sam.
Yeah, so it skips a decent amount.
And it's just
But yeah, for some reason...
a big oversight of the developers.
Yeah. And this level is effectively like a mini boss gauntlet, I'd say. So we have, I think, 3 trolls and a Nazgul which we fight. And each troll has slightly different ways of killing them.
Here we already position ourselves perfectly for getting grabbed by the troll, apparently.
It's fine, I've got you covered. So yeah, that can happen. That's kind of RNG as to whether the troll manages to grab you or not.
And then I'll
I'm
go
gonna
to the
stand
right
here.
here, because
Yeah.
there will be some blocks that drop down. Morgul bricks, only possible to get destroyed by Aragorn. Beating you to all the to all the builds today.
I blame the input lag. There's actually not that much at all, but you know.
And I will switch to Legolas because next is the Nazgul. And you beat that with Legolas.
I think Origins learned his lesson not to X-aim that one, or not to just try and shoot that one last time.
Yeah, it targets everything behind the Nazgul. But,
Before the Nazgul.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
there's a
behind
lot
it,
to target behind it.
yeah, there's basically 5 orcs on towers, which you shoot them all for a mini kit. So the game prioritized that. Uh-oh. So
Axel will
Origin is
jump
going to...
there.
Meanwhile, Origin's getting absolutely bullied by this troll. There we go. And now the troll will walk over here, break these blocks, to build where I'm already supposed to be. Yes, so I get up here early, which just means I can activate the ring early, and we can get rid of this troll. There we go.
Did I target you there?
I don't know.
I think I
think you
shot
might
you
have done.
down after the troll.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I guess,
Game?
Can you switch?
Game?
That's Never seen that. Wow. Guess I'll do this then. Alright. Another one for the list. Never seen that ever before.
I have an idea. Is Aragorn over by you?
I hope so.
Because I want to see whether with this glitch I can hit the out of bounds trigger.
Oh wow. Yep, he is here. I'll just
No, I can't get around that out of bounds. That's bad.
This is the most lazy mini boss. You just hold this and wait until he gets tired. Like that. And then you do it again. The club of your troll also looks very weird.
I mean, it's the only thing that's spawned in. The rest of the troll is like half invisible. Also, I have 6 hearts.
Great game, this one. It's actually blocking my way, your phantom troll.
That's brand new. I've never seen that before.
Here you can skip building the first part. Just jumping on the silver pigs and jump to the second tower.
Don't mind me just trying to push the troll into position.
Is that because I killed you as well, together with the troll? What? What is happening?
Hello and welcome to our LEGO Lord of the Rings glitch exhibition. That happened. A lot of things happened there.
Well, on to the last level then.
Yeah.
Very confused right now.
Great game. Well made. Top tip programming from Steve Harding.
So yeah, I'm Frodo here. I really can't do much. If I try to jump, he just face plants.
Oh.
So Paxo has to do everything here.
There we go. So yeah, we basically just leave Frodo behind. I call it true ending, but you know.
Sam is the real hero of the story.
Sam is the real hero.
And now Paxo will do the most difficult triple jump in this game. Or he goes for the...
Honestly, I wasn't sure what I was going for, but it worked.
Well,
that is a really difficult triple jump because you have to be in the lava at the same time and avoid the death planes.
yeah. You have to walk a bit in the lava for you to get there.
Yeah. the
But he
kill
did it
plane-
perfectly,
it,
so...
We're going to ignore that. That didn't happen. I can jump. But yeah, we're going to go into the volcano now. We actually, by doing this, we actually skip a Golem boss fight. Normally there's 2 Golem boss fights in this game. One outside Mount Doom, one inside Mount Doom. But because we went straight into the door of Mount Doom, we actually skip one of the Golem boss fights. I think the reason we can do that is because it's the same map as Prologue. Like, identical map. Which means that you're actually able to follow the more Prologue style route up to the top rather than the intended route.
Now, Golem would normally jump on my back and attack me again, but because I walked off the edge here, he never got to me, and he is still waiting for Paxo right there.
Yep. And I think it just about is possible in this phase, but Golem does still like to jump on Frodo here. So I'm not sure if Origin will try and go for it.
If Paxo is fast enough.
So that's a yes then. No, that's a no. If it's relying on me being fast, that ain't happening. Oh, it actually did. No, it didn't. So close. There we go. And a nice little time save. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to fall off this railing. Because we haven't actually touched any ground, I respawn immediately up top. And that's a nice time save because it skips Frodo building something. And now we're into the final auto-scroller, final part of the level. I'm going to try and get the mini-kit here, just saying. Hey, we got it. I think that was you, but we got it. Also, what you can do here is actually, if you're holding right on the inside here, you can get stuck on the door of Mount Doom. Unfortunately, I was a little bit too late with the jump there, so I didn't quite manage it. But if you get stuck, it's a free 4-second time loss. It's nice and fun. But coming
Time
up,
is
run
coming
is
up.
going to
Yep.
finish.
Right when the cutscene starts. Now.
Time. GG, not bad.
Yeah, that was fun. The game got a bit weird at the end, but that's LEGO games. That's a perfect showcase for
Especially this
LEGOthon,
game.
I think.
Yeah, no, that's all we have to say. I hope you've enjoyed this run. I will be back later today with 1 through 4 fast any %. But I think other than that, over to Justin.